you can't poach a client if the directors of the business have a really good relationship with that client. So I think first and foremost, that needs to change, because if they're losing clients from a property manager that's been in there, the relationship to me sits clearly with the property manager, not with the agency. But on the other hand, that agency has paid my wages. That agency has put a roof over my head. I respect them, so that if, yeah, I don't believe that you should go, hey, I'm opening up on my own, I want you to come here. It's going to happen. People are going to reach out and find you if they've had a really good relationship with you. But you've got to do the right thing in my book, and you've got to go back to your employer and say, this is what's happening. I don't want any bad blood. Talk to your client, and maybe we can come to an agreement. Maybe we can't. But ultimately, to me, that client actually belongs to that business.
Welcome back to the Property Management Podcast. I'm your host, Kylie Walker, and today's episode is one that I've been so excited to record. We're talking about the death of transactional property management, and trust me, it cannot come soon enough. But before we get into it, I want to take you back to something I experienced early on in my own business. I became a little obsessed with customer experience, and I mean obsessed. We're talking about tenant moving gifts, no reason calls, and just, to check in with clients, strategic client communication, and loyalty rewards for our long-term property owners. I was doing everything I could to make people feel genuinely valued, not just managed. This also extended to my own team as well when we recruited and onboarded new team members into our business as well. And here's what I learned. People won't remember exactly what you did for them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And that is something that I learned very early on and has stuck with me as I've created and scaled multiple businesses. I still come back to that ethos. And that realization really did change everything for me. And it's the heart of what today's conversation is all about. And joining me is Jenny Locke from K and Low Property Co., a boutique property management agency in Sunbury, Victoria. And she has built her business on that exact same philosophy: relationships over transactions every single time. We also get into one of the most controversial topics doing the rounds of our industry right now: client poaching. And let me tell you, there are a lot of opinions on this one, and we're sharing ours, and we're not shying away from it. Because here's the thing: transactional property management isn't just bad for clients, it's bad for all of us. It's devaluing the commissions that agencies can charge, it's destroying the perceived value of our services, and it's giving our entire industry a reputation it doesn't deserve. So it's a time for a change on that one, as well as our opinions around poaching as well. So grab yourself a cuppa, get comfy, and strap yourselves in for this honest conversation. Jenny, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Before we dive in and talk everything Jenny, and is it Kalo Property and Co? Let's start off by sharing with our audience a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the industry.
I started in the industry about a decade ago, purely by chance. I was actually in the apprenticeship sector, and I felt like 8 years of doing that, I was tired. I was sick of it. So I was in a business network group, and I let everybody know in the group that I was going to be finishing up. And then the next day, one of the property managers that were in the group and the sales agent, they reached out to me and said, look, our boss wants to talk to you about someone employing someone. And I thought they were talking about the apprenticeship sector. So I went in, had a chat, interviewed, found out everything that he wanted, and said, yep, I can certainly help you there. And at the end of it, he goes, no, Jenny, it's you I want in the business. I'm like, oh, okay. So that was it. Within 24 hours of letting everyone know that I had resigned from that career, I had a career in real estate.
And you
Yeah.
haven't looked back.
No, I haven't. So I was only a few months into that journey, and I actually was diagnosed with stage 3 bowel cancer. And that was such a supportive environment to still be in. I had some of the team members give me their sick leave. I was allowed to adapt my hours so that I could finish my training and still do my job and still do treatment. And it gave me such a passion for the industry as a whole. Yeah.
I'm really sorry you went through that, but how beautiful that you had a little community behind you that stepped up when you needed it
Mm.
most.
Yeah. And to this day, I still love them all. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And you've now had a even bigger shift. You've gone out and started your own agency after a decade.
Yeah.
Tell me what that journey's been like and tell us a little bit about your new business and how you are now integrating that with your existing business or the business that you're working for.
So it's been a bit of a long time coming. I left the industry briefly and went into a different sector for a little while because I felt that whole burnout that everybody gets at some point. But I missed it. I really missed property management. So when I came back into it, and my break was only about 5 months. So when I came back into it, I thought I really want to do it differently. And I just wanted to temp for a while. I didn't want to commit to an agency. But the agency I went and temped at, I ended up staying. They have a really good culture, very supportive, and all of that sort of thing. And they know exactly what I'm doing. I was upfront with them to begin with that I wanted to have my own agency. And yeah, so they've supported me on the journey. When I finally launched, it was about a week or two ago, my brand. I told them like I've launched and everything, and they said, "Oh, we don't want you to go in a hurry. We'd like you to stay on because they know that I am, if any of their clients approach me, I'm going to first of all go straight to them and say, look, this is what's happened. Talk to them because my relationship with that agency and those people is paramount to me. Yeah.
This topic, you've just raised a really good point because the last few weeks, this has been a huge topic in our industry. There's been lots
Mm.
of comments made and lots of opinions shared about the whole poaching of an existing agency's business. What I have my opinion, and I'm sure you've got your opinion on it as
Mm.
well. So, what do you think about what sort of evolved, what happened, and yeah, what's your stance on this topic? This episode is proudly supported by ALO. And if you've been listening to the show for a while, you've probably noticed what I've noticed. The property managers doing the most interesting work right now keep mentioning the same platform. And I saw it close up at the Harcourt Solutions study tour in Brisbane. The way teams talk about their day has changed. And if you want to hear it for yourself, ALO hosts after-hours intimate events at Mecca stores across Australia, where you can listen to property managers share their own story. So book a demo at alo.io, that's AILO.io, and ALO will send you a Mecca gift card to say thanks.
Okay. First of all, I think you can't poach a client if the directors of the business have a really good relationship with that client. So I think first and foremost, that needs to change because if they're losing clients from a property manager that's been in there, the relationship to me sits clearly with the property manager, not with the agency. But on the other hand, that agency has paid my wages. That agency has put a roof over my head. I respect them so that if, yeah, I don't believe that you should go, hey, I'm opening up on my own. I want you to come here. It's going to happen. People are going to reach out and find you if they've had a really good relationship with you. But you've got to do the right thing in my book. And you've got to go back to your employer and say, this is what's happening. I don't want any bad blood. Talk to your client and maybe we can come to an agreement. Maybe we can't. But ultimately, to me, that client actually belongs to that business.
Yeah. And so, because you're in a really precarious position right now. So, what's your plan of attack then? And I know you're a very good property manager and you're very great with people. So, I imagine there's a lot of clients that are there sitting there now in that business that have probably had bad experiences and not happy with things, but are staying because of you. What is your plan of attack when the inevitable happens and some of those clients do come find out you've got your own business now?
If
What are you
they
going to do?
find out, the first thing I'm going to do is pick up the phone and call either the director or the head of new growth, speak to them and say, this is what's happened. I think you should talk to them, have a chat. And I just want to stay out of it while you have that chat. That's up to them. I want to do it all on my own. I want to do organic growth, not reaching out to past clients and stuff like that. I don't agree with that, but that's me personally. I hold myself to values and ethics, and I think the real estate industry already has this bad reputation of not doing the right thing. I want to do the right thing and walk the walk and talk the talk.
Yeah, I really respect that. And I have been a business owner that has had large numbers of properties poached off me from previous property managers. And you would think that I am very bitter and twisted about that. But ultimately, I think that's the nature of business. We're in a competitive marketplace. I can see that I did drop the ball. I walked away from my business for 3 years. I did drop the ball with a lot of relationships. I stepped back in and tried to take off where I left off, but things had changed.
Mm.
Those relationships that I'd let go of, my property manager, who was very savvy, picked up those relationships. And when she walked, she took a lot of them with her. But, and yes, it hurt me financially, but also I can see that point of view that I did not have that relationship. But other times in my business where I've lost one or two, that was probably the biggest one where she took, I'm talking 20, 30 properties.
Ooh.
Yeah, that hurt. But I've had other property managers who've taken one or two managements or three maybe. And it's as you grow your rent roll, I think I had 680 properties when I walked away. I couldn't have a relationship with every single one of those clients. And when I wasn't client facing, I was building systems and processes and building offshore team or implementing new technology, always with the goal of making my property managers' jobs easier, more efficient, less burnout. I'm sure there's some agency owners that are sitting there going, I can't win here. If I don't have relationships with my clients, I'm going to lose. People are going to take them off me. But then I'm not going to keep property managers because my business is in chaos. So, what do you think is that balance for agency owners? Because you're about to be one.
Yeah, you can always put systems in place to keep that level of communication up. I want to do something a bit different that I don't know anyone else that's doing it at the moment, and that is the anniversary of every year that you've been with my agency, for example. Why don't you get rewarded? Hey, I really appreciate your service for the last year, and this is the direction we're going. Go to the movies on me, or something like that. Something that you've already, you know what they like, what they would see as a thank you because you've built that relationship in the start. And the programs that I'm going with have got really good structure and systems in place where there's lots of touch points, and it will tell me if one of my investors is looking at going. So I think that's a bit of a game changer too.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to this topic because I think I want the death of transactional property management. And I think the only way we're going to elevate this industry and our reputation and stop the poaching, and because people aren't going to leave ultimately if they are really happy with what you provide for them, right?
Yep, exactly. And they feel valued and they're getting value from you. It's a two-way relationship. It's not a one-way relationship. It's got to be mutually beneficial.
So, how would you describe transactional property management and what are you seeing in the industry at the moment when it comes to people giving poor service?
I think it's picking up the phone that is not transactional. Just emails or text messages, anybody can do that. That could be anybody, but having that human connection, that is where the difference sits. Getting to speak to someone, or it might be that you do like a video hookup because they're interstate owners or whatever. They haven't seen their property, so you do a video walkthrough with them, talking about things, whether they can make more money out of their property or where they don't need to spend money, all of that sort of stuff. That relationship, that level of service is where it changes.
Absolutely. So, what do you think has driven the shift towards clients wanting more than just the bare minimum from their property manager?
Dare I say it? I think
You can.
pre-COVID and post-COVID, pre-COVID and post-COVID, it's the shift is happening there. But I don't know. I just feel personally this real strong pull to deliver a different level of service, and I've been feeling it for a while. So that's why now I created K and Low Property Co because I want to do it differently.
Amazing. I listened to, I think it was a training or a podcast where they talk about how people will won't remember what you did for them, but they'll remember how you make them feel.
Exactly.
And so I developed my customer experience around that ethos. So every touch point I had with my clients from the minute that they inquired with my business, or I met somebody out in my local community, I wanted to make them feel something about me or my business. And so I called it my I think property customer experience. So everything was welcome gifts. And that was tenants as well,
Mhm.
not just our landlords, it's our tenants as well. So maybe share some of the things that you're putting in place. You shared a couple earlier, but like
Yeah.
what is that experience, the K&L Property Co's experience going to be?
Okay. So I've designed for different suburbs that I'm targeting and want to work in a welcome letter for the tenants, and it gives them tips on doctors, cafes, things to do in the area, all of that sort of thing. But it also comes like with a pack, like a welcome pack. You know, when you first move into a property and you go, "Oh, where's a cup? I need a coffee," or
Where's the
you
toilet
know,
paper?
toilet
I used to
paper.
give them toilet paper in their
Yep,
welcome packs. Yep. Coffee
yep,
cup. Yep.
yeah, exactly. Not just that, maybe a spray and wipe and some paper towel. So if they think the bench needs to be wiped down before they want to put their belongings on, they can do that. So when they first walk in, this is from a gift from K and Low Property Co. and the owner. So when I give them the keys, I'm there at the property, they get the keys, and I walk through the property and show them how things operate. Like your
Nice.
oven won't turn on unless we do the timer. This won't happen. But the split system is all on one motor, so they both have to be on hot or they both have to be on cool and things like that. And then that way the owner also won't have those niggly maintenance items when a tenant first moves in because they don't know how to use things.
Yeah, I absolutely love
Mm.
that. I had an experience, I'm renting at the moment when I sold my family house last year, and I moved in and I had no idea how to use the ducted aircon system, and I had no idea how to get the gas hot water
Mm.
working. And I figured out the gas hot water by Googling, but the ducted aircon, I couldn't figure it out. And there was a switch outside that just needed to be turned on, but I had to get, to call my
Yeah,
property manager, say, how handy and easy would it have been for her to have a little checklist for me when I moved in
yeah.
to say, because it's not normal things. I'm not
No,
great in property management. I know, but I had to, and then I had to pay. They then obviously fairly charged me because I was just a simple turn the button on outside. But who would have thought to turn on the button for the aircon was outside the back of the property,
yeah, yeah.
not even near the aircon unit. There's just a random
Mm.
button. How hard would it have been for her to maybe tell me that? Anyway, I won't,
But
that's
that's the whole point. That
exactly.
that changes your level of customer service. So then you've got it hasn't been like a warm handover as such. You ended up having to pay for someone to do that, whereas if she'd just come through or he'd just come through and said, "Oh, hang on, let's just check out here because I reckon there might be a switch." Bingo, turn it on. You're great.
Absolutely. And the thing that I think people forget as well is that how much of a difference do you think that's going to make to the end of the tenancy? When you've set it up
Huge.
on, there's no need for VCAT. The
Mm,
relationship's fantastic. They love you, they love the
correct.
owner.
Correct. And you just set everything up right from the very beginning. It flows the whole way through. I think it's really important for both sides.
Absolutely. And what about some of the other things that you want to, if that you can share? And the beauty is we've got all this technology now, right? And you just
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, you've got the systems and the technology that's going to help you elevate that customer experience. If you
Yeah.
wanted to share a little bit about some of those things that you're going to implement along the way.
Yeah. I've spoken about the introduction for the renters, rewarding my owners, but when, like, I'm going to be able to tailor when owners get paid out and things like that. So if they say, oh no, I need it in my account on this date to help with the mortgage, but rent is paid 2 weeks earlier or whatever, I can set it up for it to come when they want it and when they need it, not necessarily when it's paid. They might want to get paid out straight away. I can do that. I've got 18 different ways in which that owner can be paid. So I
Fantastic.
don't, yeah, there's not many other programs out there that do that. So it took me a long time to decide which program to go with. And I wanted one that alleviated a lot of the admin side of things for me so that I'm doing the relationship building.
Amazing. And do you
Mm.
think that you can leverage? So I leveraged obviously technology, but also an offshore team,
Yeah,
so that my property managers and it was very strategic. My idea was that my property managers call owners. They pick up the phone and they call five a day. When we
yeah,
had a large portfolio, they were actively out at networking events in the community, going to their
yeah,
kids' sports, talking to people about what they did. They were trying to grow the business as well as delivering that next level customer service. And there's no excuses for it. We do have great offshore and we do have great technology.
yeah. Even better, I everything that I'm discovering about the program that I decided to go with, I won't need offshore.
Yep.
It's all built into the one program.
Amazing. And feel
Yeah,
free to share that if you wanted to share it.
yeah,
Yep.
and it's our property.
Yep.
I went to the next conference, which obviously you were a part of, and one of the girls that I sat with, this is what she was using, and she just showed it to me. I had never heard of it before. I hadn't seen it before. So from that day on, I was really investigating it and got deep into it. And each time, yeah, the more I open up to it and the more I see different things, I think, oh, I've made the right decision. Yeah,
But it's terrifying, isn't it? Like any software, any decisions that you make when you're starting out your business, it's terrifying that you're going to make the wrong choice. But what sort of decision making did you make when you were setting up your business and what things to implement and include in your business? Was it about this letting go of transactional property management and having that relational property management?
100%. That's where it's completely come from. I really don't like transactional property management. I think it leads to burnout. And I know that word is used a lot, but I really believe it does because if people are getting so bogged down by all these different systems, emails are here, and then you've got text messages here and here, and it's too much. It gets overwhelming, and you can't deliver the level of service that I believe our investors need and our renters need.
Absolutely. And then there's another
Mm.
important aspect to this is that if you're delivering a great service and you're not transactional, you don't need to discount your fees.
No, exactly right. Exactly right. Because you're delivering a level of service that so many aren't that are charging those really minimal fees because they're working on volume. I'm not working on volume. I'm working on, I want to keep it boutique. I want to keep it aligned. That was my word for 2026 was alignment so that the whole business is a reflection of who I am and the service that I want to deliver.
I'm so aligned with you on that as well.
Mm.
I don't want to create a big business. I want to have a business that gives me a lifestyle, that gives my team a lifestyle,
Yeah,
and I want to have clients that are aligned with, so maybe my word was aligned as well, but I can't actually remember what my word was. But it's so true. And this whole ego around how many properties have you got under management and you signed 100 in a
mm,
year. That's really, that's great for those who want that. And I'm not discounting
mm,
that. Your competitor, and I was like that. When I
yeah,
was starting out, it was very aggressive and very much wanting big numbers. And because I thought that was what success looked like. But really good clients and paying good fees for the value that I deliver, that's more important than having
100%.
1,000 properties under management.
Yeah, yeah. And look, it probably comes back to me like all the statistics said that I shouldn't have survived cancer. So I brought that into, it's flowed with me as far as I want people to feel good. I want people to be happy with the way they're doing it. And I also want the lifestyle that I don't have to carry 300 properties or whatever and be bogged down in the day to day stuff, because that's not going to make me happy. It's not going to make my clients happy if I'm not happy. It's a win win, I feel.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And you're right, it doesn't make you happy because, like I said, I had
Mm.
680 properties and I walked away. I was as miserable. It cost me my health, it cost me my relationships, it cost me so many things. And if I look back on it now, yes, the income was fantastic, but it wasn't probably worth it. And the business that I have today feels, again, that word, way more aligned and you're able to, the relationships really matter. And I worry, I
Yeah.
was at an event the other day and I really worry that with AI coming in, people are going to use it as an excuse to do less work rather than doing less of the not important work,
Yeah.
but doing more work on the really valuable stuff like creating an
Mm.
impact, educating investors, building relationships.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's the same as
And yeah, exactly. AI is there to support. It's not to take over. It's not to make you go, oh, now I don't have to do that. No, any AI that was within my business frees me up to be able to go, hey, Kylie, let's go and have a cup of coffee. I know you've had a rough time this last couple of months with the renters not paying their rent. Let's catch up. Let's debrief. Okay? They live locally. Why wouldn't you want to do that? I would love that.
Absolutely. No, I love that. So if there's any PMs listening right now and they're feeling stuck in a transactional culture, or maybe it's their agency, maybe it's them, and I'm not going to say some relationships you just can't have with people, like some investors, some rental
Mm,
providers, some renters, you just can't have relations. They're not, it's impossible. And
yeah,
I would say let them go, those people.
I agree.
But the ones that you can have, and anyone that's sitting there feeling like they're really, this is resonating, they're feeling really transactional, they haven't spoken to any of
Mm.
their property owners in over 12 months, what would you say to them or advice would you give them?
Pick up the phone to start with. Just pick up the phone, give them a call. If the systems are bogging them down, look at different systems. Don't be afraid to change all of that. That's where the real growth is. If you're feeling bogged down in the day to day, maybe go and do a course. Do something that's going to inspire you to want to grow in the direction that you really want to go.
Yeah,
Mm.
I love that. That's beautiful advice. So, what's next then for your exciting new venture?
I guess concentrate on building the business. I want to do a bit of speaking, a bit of public speaking, do more podcasts, share my vision out there. I've been talking about speaking on a panel at a property management day in Victoria coming up. So yeah, be able to share more of my journey, hopefully inspire other people to step up into to what feels aligned for them.
Uh, You certainly inspire me, and I think it's fantastic. And you've got an amazing story to share. So, thank you for being so kind and generous to share it on this platform. We have a bit of a tradition where I ask you to share some personal development, a
Yeah,
podcast, a book. What would you like to share with our audience today?
we already know I'm a huge fan of your podcast, but I also, yeah, I love Ashley Goodchild as well, very much. My book, yeah, my book would actually be The Magic, Living in Gratitude. That's something I read. I haven't read it for a little while, but I'm going to pick it up again. I've probably read the book 4 times from cover to cover. It's easy to read. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm jumping on a flight to the Philippines later, so I need a book to read. So I may go and get that one. Thank you for sharing.
That's a
And
good
if
one.
anyone wants to reach out and hear more about your journey, what you're doing, how you set up your business, how they can build more, make it their business less transactional, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
They can find me on Instagram, Jenny Lock, KLO Property Co. I'm on LinkedIn as well. You can drop the link to my website there. They can reach out and contact me through that. Yeah. anyway, give me a call.
Amazing. Thank you, Jenny, for joining me. I really loved catching up with you.
Thanks, Kylie.
Can I ask you a quick favour before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.